Central TV is here. We here to inform you, listen and be inspired.
Hello. Hello. If you are hearing me, please let me know. If you are hearing me,
Yes, I'm
let me
hearing you.
know.
I'm hearing you are live. You are live. You are live.
Okay. Good evening. Good the wonderful people around the world. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are joining us from. This is Samdra TV, and our program tonight is Inside Liberia. Inside Liberia comes on every Wednesday from 9 to 10 p.m. Liberian West African time, and then in the US or Western time is 5 p.m. We're happy to be here tonight for another wonderful edition of Sandra TV of Inside Liberia. And if you want to follow us, you are free to follow us on our Facebook page, Sandra TV, and our YouTube channel, Sandra TV. It is open to all of you. Tonight is a wonderful night with a fascinating topic, and two renowned Liberian journalists who are serving as our guests, and we're going to be discussing the most popular topic right now in Liberia. All of us know the issue that is happening currently in Liberia is the expulsion of, I want to say, former representative, for the record, former representative Yeke Koluba is almost a week now. It was expelled last Thursday from the House of Representative. That's the 55th uh, 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 representative in Parliament. Is no longer a member, but there are controversies surrounding this expulsion, where people from various background institutions, media persons, civil servants, politicians have taken a debate from one level to another. And as it is ongoing now, uh, Honorable Yeke Koluba has finally gone to court, and his matter is in the hands of the judiciary. Why, according to Yeke Koluba, their hearing is supposed to take place on the 29th of this month. Meanwhile, they should have sent in their documentation by the 28th of the month so that they can go through the hearing. Tonight, we have Michael Scott. Michael Scott is a Liberian journalist currently residing in the US. He's a specialist in propaganda. Marco will introduce himself to the public. I know media people, we don't like to do much introduction, but he will do a brief introduction of himself, and to join us as soon as he gets signal or get signal from him will be James Kwabo, who is also a journalist that will be joining us very shortly. He said he was in studio and he's been waiting. Studio coordinator, please check if James is already in the studio so you allow him to join the program. And for the sake of the audience, we just want you to know that my name is Vivian Cooke. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a regular host on Inside Liberia on Samtra TV. We'll take one one a few seconds of our theme song, and we will be right back. And then Malcolm, and we assume that by that time, James will also be in studio to introduce themselves. Just a minute of our theme song. Leon, if you are there, studio coordinator, if you are there, let's take
Central TV is here. We the best now in time. Oh, listen and be inspired. Turn up, turn up, turn up, turn up, turn up, to Central TV. Turn up, turn up, turn up, turn up, turn up to Central TV. Veronica the boss for Central TV. She here to give you the best. Come and listen everybody to Central TV. We here to give you the best. Come and listen, enjoy the show. Come and listen to Central TV. We the best in time. Turn up, turn up, turn up, turn up, turn up to Central TV. Turn up, turn up, turn up, turn up, turn up to Central TV. Veronica the boss for Central TV. She here to give you the best.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Okay. All right. Welcome back. Welcome back, Malcolm. You can come back. We begin the show while we are with Kwabo to join us. We will begin the show. Malcolm, if you are there, please welcome. Let me say welcome to you. And thanks for joining us tonight on the Samtra TV. We are fascinating about our topic, and it is very important. We want to discuss. We want to discuss on our
Give me one
show
second.
tonight.
Give me one second,
Okay,
Veronica.
okay.
Yeah, okay.
While we're with Malcolm, 1 second. We are yeah. If you want to watch us, you want to make a comment as this show goes on. Don't forget, either go to our Facebook page, make your contribution there, or you go on our YouTube channel, make your contribution there. Or you better still, you can take it from the angle of asking questions by dialing our number to call will appear on the screen when it is time for calls. But for now, we will focus on our guests and we'll ask our guests to make the introductory remark. We will start with Malcolm. He's already here. We want to welcome you to Samja TV. Malcolm, we talking about tonight. It's very important that we gather to make analysis on the ongoing issue that is the hottest discussion right now in Liberia, the expulsion of Honorable Yeke Koluba. What does that mean for Liberia? So we will ask you to make an introductory remark, and then we will take you to begin with on this discussion. You're welcome, Margot. Unmute yourself. You are mute. Okay.
Thank you, Veronica. I would think we should probably give a little space so that we have James come in. Yeah. So if you don't mind, let's have him come in. What do you think?
Yes, we are yeah we making contact with him, currently to have him in the show, and I'm very sure
Is
he'll be there
James in
shortly.
Lofa?
Yes, James is in Lofa.
Maybe Starlink is not working that well, or maybe
So
the Guinean people, the Guinean army finna arrest a CZ and take it.
I know, right? But James is in Lofa, and probably he's trying to get in.
Yeah, there will probably be internet challenge though. Yeah, I'm here until he comes on. I'll probably be waiting. But I'd like to congratulate you. Yeah, this is a worthy endeavor, and yeah, the startup may be you know somewhat challenging, but the efforts and you know everything you put through it will work very well, and it's going to be rewarding at the end. I like to appreciate you for this great initiative. And well, who knows? It might not be immediately, but in the long run, we'll probably get involved in partnership to helping and lend our support in whatever way that is deemed necessary. Um, Last week I was in a conversation with a media friend back home, and I was asking him how to create opportunity of partnership to build the media empire, so that the voices of those who want to be heard to be lifted. And he welcomed the idea. Um, we trying to solicit some other resources to see how we can buttress. Yeah, so sim could be applied to you. Let's see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in the weeks and months ahead. But you're doing
Oh,
great.
that's good.
Yeah, I've been following the different editions, and that's a worthy initiative. Good, very good endeavor.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
We really appreciate at the level of Samtra TV in whatever way you can help. Yes.
Yep. Also, you probably only come out on Wednesdays.
We come on Wednesday with the program Inside Liberia. That's my program. And then we have the host of Sandra TV and the CEO who's in the US. And the host comes on every Saturday evening with another fascinating uh,
Uh,
Christian book that says we are all Christians, and we have the youth program also on Sunday. And we have a pending, uh, Bible teaching program that is supposed to do its introduction on Sunday, this coming Sunday, and will officially begin on the first Sunday in May. So we also have our women program that comes on Thursday with another producer, but we're here wanting to fill all the days of the week with different slots, and also we do live podcast and broadcast for other individuals, institutions from whatever background. So we are
oh,
open to doing business with everyone to make sure that
is
Sandra
is James in the studio, or he just hasn't joined? What's happening with him?
is not in the studio yet, but he's online and I can see that he's trying to join the studio.
Yeah, I had
Yeah.
to join through my email via the computer because with WhatsApp would be, I know even though you can connect the WhatsApp to the computer, but I don't know how to link my WhatsApp to the computer.
Yeah.
If I were joining from the phone would be ringing. It would cause distraction. It would probably cut the network.
Mhm,
So it's better to do it through
mhm.
the computer. Yeah, that's what I mostly do.
Uh, yeah, that's what I also do connect from my computer. From the computer. Yeah, but maybe we can start doing the
Yeah, not a
introduction.
problem. Yeah.
Yeah, while we are waiting a little bit. Let the people know who you are.
Well, I wouldn't want much of a too much introduction. I'm just Malcolm, veteran. Yeah. Spent a little time with the library media, navigated transition into public relations, got involved in
1 minute, Michael.
how.
Leon, James is in the studio. He's in the back of the studio. Can you please allow him in? Thank you very much. James is in studio and the discussion begins right here tonight. Welcome, James. Welcome, Michael. And we are all media colleagues. I am your host, Vivian Cooke. We are about to start the ball rolling. We have already begun with introduction, starting with Michael Scott. Thereafter, we'll listen to James Papekwabo for introduction.
Yeah, I think James has the most solid power and profile. I'm just Malcolm. I'm just one of the regular uh, media practitioner, a professional who transitioned from mainstream, walked the street of journalism with the microphone like everybody else, transition from mainstream. Um, yeah, for corporate reporter, having graduated from the Liberal Broadcasting School of Journalism, worked in different media, institutions in Liberia. Rose to becoming editor-in-chief, transition into public relations, uh, got schooled in economics, public sector management, both at UA and Cottington. Was involved in mentorship, helped to impact lives at the United Methodist University. And I found myself on the other side of the world in the US. There's a whole big story of how and why I left Liberia. There is a script coming up, in the future about those. But yeah, I'm doing good. Basically, that's why I like to say for now.
Okay, you're welcome to Central TV. This is your first time, and we're happy to have you. James,
Yeah, thank you.
James Kwab.
I
Thank
mean,
you,
Jim,
Vivian.
show your face, my man.
No, they play. We are currently plays dark. I mean, Lofa precisely. We get LEC. We we get how to call it stable electricity right now. We dealing with solar while the solar gone off. So that's unfortunate. That's what
That's
we're calling
okay.
for.
Yeah, that's fine.
So it's
I
unfortunate.
know.
But however, I thanks Michael. It's been a very long time, and I feel that we are meeting again after years. So Vivian, thanks for the show again. I'm James. For past 20 years of practical experiences, rose from the female of child broadcaster, going up to a community radio volunteer, and reaching to the level of being a media executive in this country, and a former mainstream journalist. Of course, I've left mainstream now. I am a lecturer at Lofa County University in the public sector, public administration department, as well as the communication, and contributing to the human resource development of our country. Well, I am a 2019 Mandela Fellow, as a matter of fact, uh, a U.S. presidential initiative, uh, and also a 2024 MTN Momo Hero of Change Award winner of the for the Republic of Liberia. So that's why, for now, I got a master in
Okay.
public sector and a bachelor in communication.
Okay, and James used to be our candidate for presidency way back in UMU. But that's it. And Margot and I used to work at the United Methodist Radio way back. So we all have come a long way
You feed that
from
James in the
mainstream
election for the
journalists.
presidency at UMU?
No, I did.
The controversial
I
election.
was on James' side. We have our own party, and Jim was Jim was
Or
the
maybe
mayor of the party. So we were
maybe
there
maybe I told
support
some of my
giving all
students
the
how to
support
vote him.
that
Maybe I told
you
some of my
got.
students how to vote him though. You can tell. Maybe we were
No,
campaigning against him behind the scene.
okay.
Yeah,
No,
but
Yeah, no, that
it's
was
good to be to you,
inspiring.
James. Yeah, it's been a while, like you said. I've been
yeah,
following, and all of you guys are doing great back home. I hope you continue on the good work. Yep.
yeah. Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
And what you told the papi need for that
So that's it.
papi papi need papi.
Yeah, it's PAPY.
They messed up
But
with
when
Papete.
group was a papi they got a whistle. You know what I
Uh,
mean?
oh, okay.
All right, but let's get started.
Okay,
Just to
so
start talking about yeah.
yeah, so is what it is, and we were all ES, and I same that advocating one way or the other last week. When it comes to the issue of Honorable Yege Kwaluba statement he made weeks back, and his expulsion out of the House of Representative. So it has been a troubling week where many persons have come up with several views, including the views of Michael Scott, the views of James Kwabo. I read partly both views. So the question is tonight, we want to hear from you. What does Kwaluba's ongoing expulsion debate means for Liberia in our growing democracy and economy?
Uh,
Um,
you
you want to start, James? Or should I throw the
okay? So,
ball out to okay,
so
go
if
ahead.
you want me to go first, that would be no issue.
Go ahead,
So,
James.
So for me, there are multiple of things that have come out from Yeke Koluba's expulsion. A debatable expulsion for now because he has thought to challenge the process. Let's see what comes out of the court for now. So we can say the expulsion is debatable. But be what the situation is, I believe there are several issues that have come up. One, the fact that public officials are being trusted to serve in the public. They are also expected to carry the moral uh, badge of showing that indeed they got everything it takes to respect the country and to watch their public utterances. Second to that, it speaks to the fact that arrogance uh, can lead you to a lot of unforeseen circumstances. And when I say arrogance, you remember when Yeke, his colleagues were raising the issue about his reckless, quote unquote, reckless statement uh, against the country, especially favoring the the issues, the boundary between Lofa and the Guinea side of the border, and people, even including me, I wrote an article that Yeke spoke recklessly as a public official, and he needed to retract, or a very serious punishment should be taken against him because it would serve as a deterrent for those who are expected to hold public offices. They should conduct themselves in that manner. And the third aspect is it has also exposed a lot of inconsistencies in our constitution, especially the 1986 constitution. He has unearthed that there is a gap in Article 38 of the Constitution. And what do I say? So, the House has the right, in keeping with the 1986 Constitution, to set aside rules to govern their own body. Equally so, to set up committee to investigate and suspend or expel their members. But here's the point: after expulsion, what happens next? That's the biggest question. Article 38 was unable to answer that. So the greatest debate now is Yeke could have the opportunity to come back if he has no issue of pending case or case after this particular ongoing expulsion, because the Constitution has created a room. So the Supreme Court also needs to come up with an opinion on this particular subject. So these are the issues as it stands that the situation of Yeke has exposed.
Hmm. Mhm.
Yes, so that's my opening comment for now.
James, are you there?
Yeah, you getting
Okay,
me?
all right. So, Marco, yeah, we got you. You are very clear. Marco, you listening to James
So
is
I listened to James, and I
opening
think
comment. James.
I listened. I listened to James, and I think he has not addressed the question. Um, well, and I hope he doesn't see it as personal attack, but it's just to raise some of the red flag coming from his opening comments on this matter. Um, there is a key question that is being asked: what does the expulsion means, and and how does it probably, in by extension, affects the democracy of our state? So, at different fronts, there are many ways this question could be answered, and I must have reading two different articles. One of those was titled "The Executive Mansion Hands into the Expulsion of Yeke," and the latest was what becomes of the felons who
Come
Um,
again, yeah, Marco, just before you go, you said something like the executive marshal hands
yeah, so
is more
when I
important.
speak about the executive marshal's hands,
Mm,
uh, as a trademark that resulted to the expulsion, I was making particular reference to the presidency. I'm twisting the legislature, making the legislature as a lame dog, a cold dog nose, member of the House of Representatives who were controlled based on order of the executive to take the action. So, and I also wrote another piece about the consequences and asking a hard question: who are the felons? What becomes of those who forged and duplicated signatures to remove their care? Because in context, with the concerns being raised and clarifications from some of the lawmakers' signatures who are on the resolution, firing back that they didn't author their signatures onto that clearly speaks to the fact that Yeke was not impeached because, as James stated, I covered the legislature. It requires a specific vote in terms of numbering to 49, which constitutes a third. So if you have two to three representatives voicing, inquiries of how the names appeared on the resolution, so it probably tells you that there was no action taken against Yake, in as much as investigation should be launched into how their signatures were forged. But to answer the question about how and what his exposure means for Liberia, well, I think it is another exposure of the weakness of the democracy of democracy of the state. It speaks more volume about um, how at the stroke of a weak Rome, our democracy is still fragile and weak to the extent where the highest courts of the land are continually being disrespected in the face of stay order being issued against the proceeding, and yet and still the lawmaking body went ahead to taking the action. So it was a slap and a gross disrespect in the face of the Supreme Court. So in context, that whole proceeding and the action speaks to naked exposure of the weakness of the laws of the land, the democracy, and interferences of the separate governments or branches of government that should be coordinating for smooth governance, but yet one branch of the government interferes with another so that actions are taken unlawfully. So it exposes Liberia to a laughing stock, and when laws are disrespected only because of selfish political interest against uh, some of the issues that don't matter, and what should matter most to the country, are not being considered most important. Because I personally think, even though James said Yeke's comment were reckless, and as a broadcast professional journalist, I haven't seen anywhere in research in all my years of practice where actions are taken against people who speak recklessly in the face of the coming into being of the Table Mountain Declaration. So it has not reached a point where people who speak recklessly should be impeached when the Table Mountain Declaration, protests free speech and thereabout. Those will be my, our primary and initial preliminary comments on the matter.
Thank you, Marco. But let me hit something, or let me just bring you back to what James was saying. Did you follow? Did you follow the statement or the recent statements back to back being made by Yeke Korubai concerning the Liberia Guinea border tensions? Did you see or did you watch the or have you been following? Because that from that background with which James is speaking. So did you follow the comments that was made by Yeke Koruba?
As a most religious listener and follower of all of the probably political events and happenings in Liberia, yes, I listened and watched the videos and comments and drew my analogy from what Yeke said at different intervals. One of those are tied to his comment being based and premised on hearsay, and according to him, his research. So the question that should be asked should be what sort of research that what research did Yaka carry out for which he premised his thoughts and explosive comments so has been seen that the land belongs to Guinea. Those are the hard questions probably the media should be asking. The media should be following up what kind of research Yeka spoke about, and and if he also said his comments were tied to hearsay and he believed, premising that to what locals of Lofa County have said to him, how does it amount to a conviction of his comment being his word, that he said that was not abstract. And let me also link it to some developments that are emerging. Just as what Yeke said, that judging from what locals of Lofa told him, he believes that the land belongs to the Guinean. Um, the foreign minister of Sierra Leone is trending currently on social media and international wires. He's attributing his and government's research having visited Guinea. Imagine
Mhm.
if foreign minister of Sierra Leone, because the entire saga about the border dispute first began between Guinea and Sierra Leone, all right, before escalating, and coming into the Liberian territory. So at the time, Sierra Leone and Guinea got involved with this dispute. All of us are aware that the Guinean army arrested some of the soldiers of Sierra Leone, forcibly, and took them in custody. It took the Sierra Leone government, the urge and courage to go to Guinea to negotiate, and the foreign minister led the delegation into Guinea for that. On today, and like less than 48 hours ago, he's publicly confessing that even though the dispute existed and they initially believed that the push of the land that was occupied, that were encroached upon by Guinea, they believed initially it was for Sierra Leone. They are convinced, judging from what they read through the map and the investigation, that the flag that was hosted in the Sierra Leone SAR, that portion of the land, which is probably 1/4, of the quarter of the land, belongs to Sierra Leone. So if a foreign minister of Guinea, Sierra Leone, speaks to this confession, they are no different from what Yeke said in terms of their knowledge of saying that according to what he saw, judging from the map and pointing to a particular, map reading on the demarcation. So should we say the Sierra Leone government should take action against the foreign minister for testifying that the fact that after the research, it been proven that the land belongs to Guinea? These are similar scenarios. They are similar scenarios. So it's equally equated to what Yeke said. How does it constitute impeachment at the time where did you got to get involved?
We'll come back to there's a claim that you're making concerning the executive mansion, but first let King James
Yeah, I can
respond
follow. I
to
can expand on that
some
further.
of
I mean,
you.
if it just comes in, I can give you reasons why I say those. Okay.
Okay. So
Okay, yeah, when we'll come back to you, James.
yes. So firstly, I think we need to be sincere to our country, especially love for country is beyond political lines. When a country is being challenged, especially in the kind of situation that Liberia and Guinea are engaged into, claim and counterclaims. When a public official like Yeke comes to make any comment that stand to favor uh, the opposite side against the country, that alone is questionable, and it behooves every rational thinking Liberian, patriotic Liberian, to call Yeke to order. Because if you listen to Yeke's comment, to say that uh, in fact he has done a survey. Can you imagine? He has done a survey and the land belongs to Guinea. He was not saying that the land just belongs to Guinea. He's saying he has done a survey. And so his colleagues were simply asking him to retract, but he said in a defiant mood that he stood by exactly what he said. And if you say that, it means that you got all of your facts. And the house, being a sacred area that we believe it should be, thought that their colleagues have crossed the line, and that was a reason. And now the Constitution in Article 38 provides them the authority for a cause. Who determines that cause? It is only the national legislature that determines that cause. So it's almost like contempt of court. It is the judiciary that determines that. And so their cause is you have brought the house to a questionable status to say that you did a survey when you don't even have a fight. And so as such, we believe that you should be punished. Now, I also partly agree that because Yeke's statement was also, in my mind, and I think it was reckless in the sense that when public officials, when you go through to the media, right, you make a statement, it becomes a policy statement. Let's take District 10 to be a county by itself, or even a country by itself. At that level, Yeke is the president of that place. So if Yeke comes out and makes a public statement, that is a statement that has a magnitude as compared to somebody just walking in the street and making. If any ordinary citizen made that statement, it wouldn't have effect as compared to Yeke, who is a public official, to make such statement. Second to that, the issue of people claiming that they did not sign and their names or their signatures were being forged and they are on the documents, I think that is a whole new investigation. It also brings the house to public disrepute, and those that are involved, if indeed it is established, and that's why I said at this stage we could say Yeke's expulsion is basically a debatable expulsion until all of these issues are being rectified, because people are claiming and counter claiming that they signed, and some people saying that they didn't sign. So all of these things need to be established, because we don't expect the national legislature, especially the House of Representatives, to have such a questionable character. And if that is the case, then their situation is even worse than the Yeke's statement, because you cannot. But now, here is the other part of it. Yeke was so defiant to his colleagues, and I've said this over and over. Look, everyone makes mistakes. And if you realize that maybe you spoke out of excitement or so on, it's just fair enough to say, look, I'm sorry. Sorry solves a lot of problem, and I'm not too sure that his colleagues would have extended to this level. But again, he chose to follow his path, and he believed what he believed in. And his colleagues also believe in what they believe in. But now, if the colleagues have taken the decision to expel Yeke, the biggest question that follows is, can Yeke be able to contest in a by-election that will be called? And I'm saying from the constitutional standpoint, yes. Until Yeke is being charged, sent to court for whatever violation, and he's found guilty, he can still contest in a by-election, even if you call the by-election today. And the other argument on the other side is that has that solved the problem? Of course, it has never solved the problem, because as we speak, the very Guineans are still on the side of the Liberian border. So the government needs to step up. In as much that we've penalized Yeke as a country, the government needs to step up its game to ensure that the issues at the border can be resolved once and for all. That's what I can say.
Okay.
So it looks
Okay,
like
that's it.
it looks
Yeah.
like James has buttressed and you know, in its entirety, sided with me because um, he alluded to the fact that, and using the eighth clause, which people supposes that if those lawmakers who are raising their land, for example, two of the lawmakers were out of reach of the chambers of the capital. One of them had gone onto the break. They were not within the territorial confines of the city, the capital city. So I saw him do a podcast under the palm tree that he was, in in his district, and he saw, stuff flying on the social media that he signed. So that speaks to the questionable manner and procedure in which the entire thing was done. So, in reference to the answer that I provided to the question, what does it mean for the country? It exposed the country to a laughing stock. And I also drew an analogy about and with the Sierra Leone's foreign minister confession when he said, even though they initially believed that the land, a portion of the land that Guinea encroached upon was belonging to Guinea, he, along with other members of the delegation that had gone to Guinea, saw facts, having done research. So there is no difference in what the foreign minister of Sierra Leone said versus what Yeke said. Meanwhile, I'd like to ask James, and
Mhm.
probably other people listening, which which constitute which one of these comments would be more grave. For example, the press secretary, the executive mansion, the official spokesperson of the presidency wrote a press release regarding this entire border dispute and using words and phrases in the press release such as the disputed land that is believed to be owned by Liberia. Vivian, I'm not sure, or maybe I wouldn't want to question whether you read that, but I can pull that press release right now. When
Mm.
communicators write, especially media relations people, when they write, the context and content of what they write got different meanings and interpretation. If the press secretary writes and say a portion of land that is under dispute that is being encroached upon, if she writes and say a portion of the land that is believed to be, and she used believed to be owned by Liberia, it speaks to the fact that she's alluding and making the judgment that that portion of the land does not belong to Liberia. What difference does that statement make versus what Yeke said? And should we say she should also be punished, expelled, or imprisoned? Let's be real to the logic here. So I'm wondering how we reach this point. Look,
I I
um,
read that first statement,
mhm.
but I don't know if for what context she was trying to put her press release into.
But
But I
no,
read that
whether
statement.
she meant whether she meant in different contexts in different form, that was a public statement, a public policy statement from the executive mansion to the press bureau to say a land that is believed to be owned by Liberian. It tells you that she's not sure. She's aware that it doesn't belong to Liberia and the land belongs to Guinea. That's a clear cut interpretation and knowledge. And James will not dispute this. I'm glad that you read it. So, what difference does that statement? If a
Mhm.
horse is on paper documented and broadcast in different media outlets, Yeager spoke two words. Just oppose those who bring them in context and see who makes the most grave crime here, and how does speaking recklessly amount to impeachment? When I covered the Capitol building in my mainstream media days, I wrote a piece of not more than 5 paragraphs news story against the late Solomon George. Solomon George had gone to session and did not knock his tie. And I quoted the rules of the House and using the attitude that he dressed recklessly and went to session. Solomon George took exception to the article and attempted to attack me in the chambers and also in the corridors of the Capitol. I was interim vice president of the Reporter Association. The press union got involved condemning what they call it, Lily Solomon George. The US embassy got involved. Now, the reason why I brought this, in context, James said his statement was reckless. So, recklessness does not constitute a ground for impeachment. The most grave commission of a crime that constitutes punishment that involves imprisonment is the fact that lawmakers, senators have been forced. And to just gravitate away from the answer to the question as to what his expulsion meant to Liberia, that whole expulsion thing was preconceived. It was a calculated plot, intended to probably silence your care. This is senior care, and don't jump me into political support of being loyal to a
Michael,
party. Hold on.
Michael, before you go further, let me ask
Let
you
me land
this
on this.
question.
This is a senior care who used distasteful comments to supporting the government that is in governing right now, and he was lauded, he was praised. When do we know, or when have we realized that the comments are reckless? You heard the deputy speaker before the investigation with Yeke and the committee members of the House. The deputy speaker has said if Yeke is not expelled, they should change his name. This is the same deputy speaker who, along with the speaker, constituted a committee to investigate Yeke. What do you think about that?
Okay, okay, let me ask this question before I bring James in to talk about the security issue where it comes with, what the statement comes with, especially for them who are residing and they are also from Lofa County. Don't you think that the statement made by Yege as a lawmaker, like James said, an official of government, making such a statement instead of working with colleagues to find remedy for the ongoing saga, but making such a statement recklessly as a lawmaker, encouraging Guinea to encourage or to cross border and seize the land of Liberia, not seize the land of Liberia, not just that, but because there were times when a bullet came from across the river from the Guinea side, affected one
A
of
commission.
our own Liberians.
A
Yes,
commission. Mm.
he had to be transferred to Monrovia to JFK for treatment. That's a cross-border bullet. That at that time, the entire country was standing up, watching and looking up to the government to see what they would do or what they can do because our people lives were at risk in their own country. And Yeager came into the country with such. By the time the journalist asked, he made those statements. He didn't stop there. He confirmed it and he verified it on the public platform like Spoon TV or the
But
Spoon
Vigo,
Talk.
we've
So
not
when
answered
it
the
comes to
question.
what
What
does that
difference?
mean for the security sector? Did he breach any law when it comes to the security issues of our country? Security issues of our country. Didn't he breach any law? Does that
There's
is it worth it coming from a lawmaker, a city lawmaker for that matter?
there's no breach here.
Does it have any positive effect on the crisis that are ongoing? What effect do you think it brought to the crisis?
So
Right after your response, James will come in.
here's the thing here. Let's assume that if Yeke said that or not, weren't the Guinean army still stationed and deployed in the Liberian territory? They were and they are. In fact, what is more concerning is before Yeke made the comment, there were patriotic Luthians and Liberians who initially resisted the Guineans. And when the Liberian flag was dehosted, they went back and hosted the flag, and everybody was hailing them. Okay, uh, that was the first threat to the security of the territory of Guinea, and that prompted that live bullet that hit the commissioner. Shouldn't the government be concerned why a citizen was bullied for no reason versus prosecuting somebody who said he believes that the land belongs to Guinea? Again, I'm still asking this question. I'll continue to ask throughout the show. What difference has that statement made compared to what the press secretary said when she said the land is believed to be owned by Liberia.
Okay, so
So
I
the
just want.
most threatening security thing in the whole thing is if a press secretary say they will barely believe the land believe the Liberia, she exposes the country to risk more than the lawmaker who said the land is he thinks belong to Guinea. But let me get James the time to go ahead.
Yeah, but Michael, if you ask what's the difference, the difference is a definitive position taken by Yeke to say he has conducted a survey and he has established that the land belongs to Guinea. He was very definite.
I want you to comment on the press secretary
No, I
press
coming
statement.
out to a point.
Yeah.
You just say what difference. So I'm giving you some of the differences. And besides, he is an elected official expected to speak with facts and not assumption. And besides, he was elected and also has a background from Lofa. So when he speaks in that particular capacity, if you listen to Yeke, he came back to say, in fact, Dumoya is his friend.
Mm.
So meaning that Liberians expected a lot from Yeke in terms of fights, rather than recklessly speaking and making comments that are not backed by facts. With respect to the executive mansion press release by Kula, in my mind, that was a typographical error. And I don't want to defend her, not to speak for that,
That's
but
interesting. That's
no,
interesting, James.
I believe that what she wrote to say the land or a piece of land Liberia claims to own, as compared to somebody who said whether claim no claim, this land belongs
Mm.
to to Guinea. These are quite two different things. And what carries the magnitude is the person who has said they have done survey and they have established the fact. That is one difference. And the second of it is when Yeke was being quizzed as to whether he regrets his statement and whether he could retract it, he said he stand by everything he said. That meant that he understood the consequences thereof. Now, as to whether a warrant expulsion, that is defined by his colleagues in keeping with Article 38, because it says that for a cause, and that cause is not being spelled out, they can determine what is a cause. And
Okay.
what are and the fact that they can determine, we cannot say that and determine what is a cause for them, because what could be defined as a cause for you could not be defined as a cause for the national legislature, especially the House of Representatives. So they use their and what the Constitution is more concerned about is the process of due process. But as to determine what constitutes a cause, that can only be defined by the national legislature. It's similar to the court. The court defines what is contempt of court. Prophet Key is in jail today for contempt, and he insulted the chief justice. But the chief justice believes that just by his name and sitting even in a room outside even of the Supreme Court, yeah, that is the if all of the justices of the Supreme Court gather in one area and took a decision, even if they were not in courtroom, that is what we call it the judiciary. That is the Supreme Court. It doesn't have to be in a room, so or maybe in a room. No. So if Prophet K insulted the chief justice and the chief justice determined that as a contempt, and what is being called a cause is similar to a contempt of the house, and so they saw it as a gross disrespect, as a reckless statement, just as some of us saw it as a reckless statement. So they took decision against their colleagues. What we are more concerned about, were those decisions taken in keeping with due process? Now, the debate comes back to the public when people are now raising issues that they are sick, they did not sign. And so that is the real thing that we need to follow up on to ensure that actually due process was followed down. The issue of Supreme Court issuing a rate or stay order on the process, and the House of Representatives went ahead, if actually it is established, because there are claims and counterclaims. If actually it is established, I don't know from where they took their decision, and I think I know about it because the Supreme Court is the highest and the final beacon of hope for our
Okay.
justice system. So for me, if you ask why what difference does it make, that is the difference right there.
Okay. So let me read our number to participate along with our Facebook page and our YouTube channel. You can also send or call our number on the stream via WhatsApp. Studio coordinator, can you display the number on the stream so that those who want to participate in this conversation tonight can call or send a text using our number, or you can also send a text using our Facebook page. We will soon begin reading some of the comments from the Facebook page, questions to Michael, questions to James. We gradually putting them together. Serial coordinator, please put a number on the stream so that people who listening and watching us can participate using the number. Also, you can send your comments to our Facebook and our YouTube channel. All right, so we go right back to take the question. We want to go to Michael shortly because he said the executive has played major role in the removal of Honorable Yeke Koluba. Why do you say such? Why do you say that?
So, to speak to why I say this, there's a precedent scenario that we cite, and which would be probably not in most recent time, but we all sat at different parts of the world and saw how the legitimate letter speaker was put out of office. Um, Judging from the fact that he had traveled with the president on a prayer mission, and whilst they were praying, the coup was, plotted against him. And
Mm,
with the rigmarole and all of the longest of time it took to have him removed illegally, with the Supreme Court getting involved and terminating his removal after viral, um, it is a glaring fact that the executive mansion was behind that plot, the removal of Fonadikova. Same is also equated and could be attributed to Yeke's impeachment. The House of Honor Agriculture break, an executive had rating, recalling them for 10 days to handle some what the executive mansion called, pressing national issues. And surprisingly enough, one of the pressing national issues were, amongst the removal of Yeke. And um, without legislative quorum, Yeke was booted out. You had the deputy speaker almost swaying, you know, um, Alberto said to his mandate, forgive me about this, that no matter what, Yeke will be removed. It was a kangaroo procedure to having a jungle justice set up procedure without the appropriate due process. They had him removed. Um, Less than 24 hours before he was removed, the president had traveled and returned to the country and been quizzed by the media. What does he make up of the controversy and intent by the House to remove Yeke? And he clearly said, what has never happened before will happen. And
mm,
leaders of such speak in this context and form. Uh, it clearly tells you that they're speaking um, in compliance of their actions. For example, the police works under the executive through the along with legislature. And then the judiciary. So Yeke was officially complained by the head of police and citing acts of terrorism. And so you could see that the president spoke in anger. He was furious and annoyed, you know, that though he said he wouldn't and does not work for the legislature, but this is the president who was the president of the Senate and knows how legislative proceeding work. So the question asked by the media about his view about exposed his hands and his silent operation to have Yeke removed. There is no argument about this. It's a glaring fact that the executive is behind Yeke's removal.
James, do you want to come in, or we want to take some views of people who are watching the show before we come back to you for us to take a few more remarks? James? James?
Jim is consulting with the Guinean Army
Okay.
at the border.
Okay, so James is still looking around. So we take some views. We take some views of our studio coordinator is not in. Are you there? Are you there? If not, let me go to it myself, and then we can take some views of the people who are watching the show and commenting. Somebody say, okay, studio coordinator is here. Studio coordinator, you are there. Studio coordinator, you are there.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here. I'm behind, but I'm here.
Welcome.
I'm
Leon Twasama. Oh, he's off and on. I think it has to do with network, but somebody said, Mr. Scott, that analogy or scenario far-fetched, and I think it's disrespectful to our republic to suggest that a country that illegally encroached on our country, that we fought alongside allies for, that we fought alongside allies for Guinea to gain independence. The same person is concerned. Malcolm let go of personal feelings and discuss this matter from a nationalist standpoint. But our studio pointer is there. He can read most of these comments, and then you will want to respond to some of them on the show while we're here now. Somebody else says, I wish I wasn't at work. I would join the show because Malcolm is being ambiguous and picking, cherry picking, pretending to be not political. It's a shame that the information you are disseminating is weak. I don't know if you want to respond to those comments. Why we will wait,
Well, I
we
respect.
must always
I've
train and have people to.
I have always respected the views of anybody, in as much as it wouldn't or they wouldn't make any impact on me. They've expressed theirs, and they probably try to counter what I say. That's their way of countering it. But I think the person who is more patriotic is the person who sees it as it says. You don't blind your eyes to the reality. Isn't it a fact that the Guineans are still stationed in Liberia and with heavy arms and stuff? Are we not aware that you're a media person, Vivian? Are we not aware that a particular media person who works for Spoon is being chased after by the NSA for speaking to his reportage of Guinea being the Guinean army still being in Lofa? How does it amount to somebody not being patriotic when you speak the fact? All right, so those are my clear cut most you know thoughts of what I think about the entire scenario. No one can beat the fact that the executive did not play a role in this matter. No one cannot defeat and argue that the House of Representatives disrespected the Supreme Court when the court asked them not to proceed further and the brush aside. Nobody can disrespect and argue the fact that when Funadi Kofa was removed illegally, the Supreme Court also passed a judgment, and to the extent where they refuse to attend uh, the session of the opening of the court. I live in the rest of the world, and when you follow international news, right in the U.S. here, um, Donald Trump, the president of the U.S., launched attack on the Supreme Court when he addressed the nation recently, insulting members of the Supreme Court. They didn't question or use any content against him. Liberia is a country where if people speak their mind, other people tied their thoughts to, political loyalty and everything. The very Yeke that is being prosecuted today, Yeke was a Messiah to everybody before and was a hero. Yeke was one of those who ensured that the votes that were secured for the current government to govern, were secured. All right, so if he speaks his mind and there are questions about his thoughts being and attributed to acts of terrorism. It is not the legislature that investigate acts of terrorism. It is the court. All right. So if the House really wanted to prosecute him, it is not the way about foraging the senators of the representatives and their colleagues. That's felonious. That is entitled. Is tantamount as entitled to imprisonment. So I can go about responding to what the comments or the participants via the stream we say. I mean, that's their view. I respect that, but these are my position.
Thank you for your views. The position James is complaining about bad network. The network system in Liberia, especially in the rural counties, are very. It's just hard to keep. And however, we going to be
I,
online
I have
for
wish
another
I have
show. Maybe
wish
we need to call you one.
I have wish that those who claiming that in my comments are not to their leggings. I wish they will answer the question about what led to the phrase and content of the press secretary, probably alluding in her comment, as contained in the press release, the land believed to be owned by Liberia. What does that analogy
I,
mean?
I know we we so if you are listening and you're there, you are watching and you're concerned about the comments, you can join the live or you can make your contribution right there on this Facebook page. Our lines are bad tonight for the WhatsApp call, so it's not coming. So let's focus on the Facebook page. Go on Facebook and make your comment there or ask questions. Or if you want to make a point, just go on the Facebook page and make a point. We have 5 minutes to go to say goodbye to this show. We lost James because of bad network,
These were
but he
captured by
has
the Guinea
suggested,
Army. We gotta probably send an
yeah,
SOS call. So we're
James is suggesting that we have phase two of of this of this debate or this discussion on Friday or continuation on next Wednesday. So I don't know what you think is about your time, but we can discuss it and then we allow additional views and maybe add additional two persons, including one of the person who said they wish to be on the show so that we can expand on this issue because it's not anytime soon. They are in court. Yege has gone to court already, and he said for the first time, I hear Yege says he respects the Supreme Court of Liberia. So he's looking forward to the
No,
Supreme Court for that
your guys are
case
always said
and to
he
see how
respect
far
the
his
decision
case
of court.
will
Your
go.
guy
But
before
that's
what
interesting, and it's good to have you, Margaret, if you want. Yeah,
your guy always
if you
said
want to give
he
us a parting statement, and then we
your guys
encourage
always said
James.
he will respect the
Uh,
decision of the court. In the impasse of the removal of Funadi Kofa, your is on record as saying if the court rules that you know um those renegade lawmakers who removed Speaker, and I always call them rebel lawmakers, remove Speaker Talon. Like I said, if the court will rule in a favor, he respect the decision. So, going back to code, I mean, anybody who seeks justice, you know, and say they respect the decision of the court, that person is more patriotic and law about it. Unlike the other people who will close their eyes to a hot and stale order from the Supreme
Laws are
Court.
breaking.
Yeah, but it was nice being here. Hoping that I'm very positive that the court will rule against the action against Yeke.
The line
And
seems bad. For your comment, I'm not getting your party comment.
well, it was nice being here,
I'm not
and
getting your
hoping
party
that
comment. The line is
yeah,
bad.
it was nice. It was nice being here. I'm hoping that when time permits, we can join another time. Okay.
I'm not getting your party comment.
Yeah, I would say if time permits, as the debate ensues and continues, we'll still make ourselves available. Once we have
Okay, so
time we
we
can schedule. All right. Bye bye.
It is time for
all
the
right.
Central TV.
Okay. Because of the downlines, we lost
Central TV is here.